My kids told me my wife's AP has come over to our house. I confronted. Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you won't miss another cheating story goes live. My wife of 10 years can't stop cheating. In 2017 I uncovered 2 inappropriate relationships she was having outside of our marriage. Pictures, sexting, meeting in person while I was gone for work. I hired a private investigator to confirm a guy was coming to my house while I was gone and we caught him. I filed for divorce about a month later and lived through probably the toughest time of my life. During this time we both went to therapy, separately, and I started to have second thoughts about leaving. We have 2 young children and ruining their lives seemed almost as bad as the cheating, so I called off the divorce. Since then my wife has been in therapy on and off, and outside of some typical marital issues our lives have been normal, or so I thought. Last month, while having sex she called me another man's name. We both had been drinking so I shrugged it off. Another night, after she'd been drinking, and had taken an Ambien, she started talking to me like I was another person. Over the Thanksgiving holiday I calmly confronted her. Gave her examples of my reasoning. Gave her a specific name, she denied everything. She assured me of her love for me and our family. She kept this assurance going for a few days. 2 weeks after this episode I find out from my kids that the guy I mentioned above had been coming over. I confronted her again and she admitted to having an inappropriate relationship with him and lying about it. No sex, but sexting and visiting at his house in hours. You'd think this was rock bottom, but it wasn't. We talked and cried for 2 days. We decided to go back to marriage counseling and make things work. I asked her if there was anyone else. I wanted to make sure all the cards were on the table before trying to repair things. Christmas Day. We were happy, talking about fixing our marriage and how much we loved each other. I felt insecure but hopeful we could make things work. She passed out after a wonderful evening with our families and I decided to look at her phone. Shocking is an understatement. First I found that she'd been texting the guy mentioned above just hours before. Telling him how much she missed him and that she wished he was here. She said she just wanted to let him know that she loved him. Second, I find she'd also been texting another guy. Sexual texts, missing him, and how she's dying to see him again. This is all while she's proclaiming her love for me and our family. Turns out the relationship with the second guy had been going on for months. Unimaginable sexting discussions, pictures, and plans to meet. She actually did travel hours away from my parents' house to visit her family on 2 occasions and met up with him. One occasion was during the Thanksgiving trip I already mentioned. There's more. There were other guys in there. Nothing explicit but definitely inappropriate discussion and talks about seeing each other again. Heartbroken. Confronted her again with evidence. She says there's something wrong with her. She doesn't know why she's doing it but wants to stay together. She says she's never had sex, intercourse, with any of them. What do you do? It seems trust in this relationship is dead. Thinking about my kids growing up in a divorced home is heartbreaking. Is there a disorder that causes this? We have some marital issues but normal everyday stuff, stress, kids, money. We are sexually active. Very active and not boring active. What would you do? I love her, but am I a fool? Update, just wanted to add some additional information after reading the comments thus far. No paternity test need. We had to do IVF because she can't get pregnant on her own. She is still in therapy and has told her therapist about the other men. She said her therapist has urged her to stop and tell me, but obviously that hasn't happened. She has admitted to other cheating prior to our relationship/marriage. Basically that sometime in her mid-20s she preferred non-monogamous relationships. She has admitted to being the other woman in affairs prior to our dating. She is a good mother to our children and they love her dearly. It's obvious what I need to do. She is a serial cheater. Addicted to the attention and excitement of being chased. This doesn't make things easier. I thought she was my soulmate. Heartbroken. Update. Just got home from my wife's parents' house, which is where I uncovered a huge affair that's been going on in parallel to another. I'm lined up to speak with a therapist next Monday to try and ease the anxiety and pain. I can't sleep and when I do I wake up drenched in sweat. This is an awful feeling, the worst. I need to keep things going a bit while I line up legal action and get myself protected. She wants us to start marriage counseling next week, but I'm sensing that she's working on her own exit strategy. She's medicating with alcohol and just last night called me the local guy's name. Asking when we build our house if we could have a pool. She's still texting people and trying to hide it. This is actually funny. When I know she's texting, I'll get up and she immediately switches screens on her phone. I purposely move around so she has to stop multiple times. It seems like I find out more hurtful information every day. Yesterday my 6-year-old let me know they had 3 sleepovers with mommy at this guy's house while I was gone. I can't even begin to wrap my head around how broken a person's moral compass must be to think that this is okay. Nevertheless, I must keep this charade up while I get my house in order. I'd love to just kick her out and cut her off, but those types of actions require legal guidance. If I go about it the wrong way, it could end up hurting me. This is just crazy. Another long weekend of pain and suffering. ! Thanks to everyone who's messaged with words of support. Here are some best comments from our community. Seems like a fairly simple problem to solve. Hire a lawyer and file for divorce. Stop being her second choice. You're her safety net while she's out fucking randoms. Adults don't just visit. They fuck. The disorder she has is called morally corrupt, broken human syndrome. The course of treatment is learning morals as a young adult. The only reason why he is a choice in all of this is because he is the baby daddy. If he wasn't, that girl would fuck her way around the world. This way she is just limited to her country. And damaging children? Please. They hang out with her lovers while the baby daddy is away. That must be so healthy for them and kind from their dear mother. You should have saved screenshots and shared them among her affair partners. Contact 3 cutthroat lawyers. Get STI tested. Get financials in order. Get evidence of affairs and share with chosen lawyer. Do not leave the home, as that is seen as abandonment. Tell her she needs to leave within the next 2 weeks. Fight tooth and nail for full custody. You want to be with your children as your STBXW is morally corrupt. I am very curious about this myself. You do know that she very likely had intercourse with every guy she met up with, right? Finding all this out has to be traumatic, but as much as it hurts, you need to think 100% realistically. Also, like the person above me said, get tested for STDs like yesterday. You deserve better than this, and she is beyond any help you can offer. I know it hurts, but run, and fast, from this woman. It's such a sad truth that people believe the kids are better off with both biological parents in the home. As this poster pointed out, the kids are much better off in 2 happy homes than 1 broken one. I would argue that your wife's will not be a happy home until she fixes herself. Sounds like SA, but that is for her therapist to determine. She could just be an awful selfish entitled boss. You need to DNA test the kids. If you somehow want to try and make this work with your wife, she has to get into therapy and figure out why she is a serial cheater. Until she stops lying, you cannot attempt to reconcile. She is sleeping with every person she has met in person, that is not in question. That is simply what cheaters do. Until she stops lying about that, you cannot attempt to reconcile with her. Divorce is the only option if she will not stop lying. You know she's lying through her teeth. If they met in person, they had sex. Period. And they did indeed meet, multiple times, so they definitely had sex. In your house. In your bed. With your kids there in the next room. What would you do? I would get a lawyer. Even if you don't have the willpower to divorce her, you must at least have some love for your kids who are growing up in this absolutely toxic house, not a home, and learning from you firsthand that it's okay to be cheated on. You are showing them that this is normal, that this is what a marriage is supposed to be like. You are teaching them that if they ever marry someone who cheats, beats and abuses them, they have to stay because this is what daddy did. No one divorces in my family. Throw this cheater out and show your kids that they should always respect themselves and stand up for themselves. Stop looking so desperately for excuses to justify your wife's choices. Are there disorders that can increase the likelihood of people to make bad decisions? Yes, for example, the manic phase of bipolar disorder typically involves making bad life choices. Are there disorders that cause individuals to have relatively low empathy, or none, for others and thus not care about hurting others? Yes. Borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder, to name a few. Bipolar is relatively treatable and something that would have definitely been caught previously in counseling sessions, as oscillating between mania and depression is pretty noticeable. So if she was bipolar, at this point she has just intentionally chosen not to get treated. Whereas personality disorders are just something you should run like hell from, as they are typically not treatable. I think BPD may have a low success rate, the other two likely almost never get treated. Is there a disorder though that leads one to not be able to stop cheating? No. Cheating is and always has been a choice. The disorder then is simply a bad person that doesn't love, care, and/or respect you. Similarly, a choice. But want to know a secret? It doesn't matter. Whether one has agency or not does not change the damage they cause to others. I sure as hell wouldn't forgive someone who butchered my family because they couldn't help it, would you? One has a responsibility to themselves and to others to seek help if their behavior will cause harm to others. If they choose not to do this, they are a bad person and choosing to be abusive. If they can't do this, then they are a lost cause. Tragic? Yes. But that doesn't mean that instead, we should allow individuals to victimize others because they can't help it. The latter is the excuse I think you are hoping applies to your wife, but this would just mean that they can never change either, and thus you will just have to come to accept them always cheating on you. That certainly would be irresponsible to your own well-being, but would also place your love for your wife over the well-being of your children, which I do not consider noble or kind. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for any future cheating stories.